what does the future hold? What will become of this planet and its inhabitants in the centuries to come? We're living in a historical period that sometimes feels like the prelude to something truly remarkable or terribly dire about to unfold. This captivating video seeks to decipher the signs and attempt to construct plausible scenarios from the nearly nothing we hold in our hands today. As always, it will be scientific discoveries leading the dance of charge, while philosophers, writers, politicians, and all the others will have the seemingly trivial task of containing, describing, and guiding. Before embarking on our journey through time, let me state the obvious. No one knows the future. Numerous micro and macro factors could alter this trajectory. World wars, pandemics, unimaginable social shifts, or climate disasters. Nevertheless, we're setting off. And we're doing so by discussing the remaining decades of the century we're experiencing right now. Out of all the emerging technologies in the 21st century, artificial intelligence will undoubtedly prove to have the most significant impact. By the 2020s, AI had already reached a level of sophistication comparable to human abilities, both in chatbot conversations and other language models. However, by the mid-century, even more significant developments will lead to social transformations capable of disrupting the lives of billions. For instance, the automation of many traditional jobs will lead to increased technological unemployment and a growing demand for welfare reform, such as guaranteed universal income. The decline in fertility rates and the extension of life expectancy will create an increasing imbalance between employees and retirees. Alongside this, immigration will continue to be a challenge, with an urgent need to attract more foreign workers while controlling the already massive number of economic refugees. In addition to medical advances in reversing biological aging, other noteworthy milestones of this century will include humans landing on Mars and the first detection of a biological signature on an exoplanet. But let's take a closer look at some of the most significant events that, in our opinion, might occur, even though they may not unfold in the exact order or year we indicate in our predictions. 2030. The extremely large telescope is fully operational. Finally completed and inaugurated, this telescope, with its extraordinary 39-meter diameter mirror, will have a far-reaching impact on astronomical knowledge. It's set to revolutionize our understanding even more than the James Webb Space Telescope, which costs 10 times as much. Constructed in the Chilean Andes by the European Southern Observatory, it will possess the power to directly capture images of exoplanets, delve into their atmospheres, and potentially detect signs of water and organic molecules in protoplanetary disks around distant stars. 2031. The International Space Station is deorbited. After entering service in November of 2000, the ISS has gathered significant wear and tear from solar radiation and the relentless effects of extreme temperatures. With its microgravity environment, the station has led to breakthroughs in diverse areas, from medicine and biotechnology to material science. It's been pivotal in monitoring Earth's ecosystems and responding to natural calamities in real time. Plus, it's served as a platform for testing future spacecraft technologies and understanding the long-term impacts of space travel on human health, crucial for paving the way for human exploration of our solar system. 2035. The consumption of lab-grown meat is rapidly gaining traction. As early as the 2020s, strides in the field of biological tissue engineering allowed for the cultivation of synthetic meat from individual animal cells. Following years of refinement and testing, an expansive array of meat-based products is now available, driving a rapidly burgeoning market. Lab-grown meat offers a host of benefits, being produced without inflicting harm or cruelty on animals, and demanding substantially lower quantities of water and energy for production, resulting in a significantly diminished environmental footprint. 2036. In a much-delayed achievement, on July 4, 2036, humans landed on Mars. The Humanity mission, having journeyed for 10 months, remains on the red planet's surface for 3 months before returning to Earth on December 18, 2037. 2037. the global population reaches 9 billion. Throughout most of human history, characterized by often harsh and brief lifespans, the world's population remained under 100 million. However, the modern era has ushered in unprecedented improvements in health, personal incomes, and overall living standards. Remarkably, within slightly more than a century, spanning 1805 to 1925, the number of people on the planet doubled, escalating from 1 to 2 billion. The following billion took only 35 years to attain, with the subsequent billion taking a mere 14 years. Predictions indicate a peak of 11 billion by 2050, followed by a gradual decline. Meanwhile, the planet will have already endured substantial environmental ravages. 2038. Airplane accident casualties were reduced to zero. In addition to the substantial growth in passenger numbers, the aviation industry has undergone significant safety improvements. Major airlines are now on the brink of perfecting their flight records, with incidents and casualties nearly eradicated. Passenger aviation deaths reached their peak during the 1970s, with nearly 3,000 fatalities per year. 2041. Fusion power is nearing commercial availability. A prototype commercial fusion reactor is on the verge of becoming operational. Challenges such as containing plasma at high temperatures, maintaining a significant density of reacting ions, and capturing high-energy neutrons without damaging the reactor walls have been addressed. Constructed during the 2030s and early 2040s, the reactor is now close to achieving perfection. In the latter part of this decade, it's expected to generate a consistent output of 2 gigawatts, making the first instance of commercially viable fusion power. 2042. Supercomputers are 1,000 times more powerful than those in 2023. The fastest machines are reaching the speeds of 10 to the power of 21 floating point operations per second, drastically reducing the time required for complex astrophysical simulations. This power is instrumental in studying phenomena like black holes, neutron star mergers, and supernova explosions. 2045. A turning point for human-artificial intelligence interactions. This year marks the realization of the so-called technological singularity, postulated by futurist Ray Kurzweil in 2008. Robots have become ubiquitous in all work environments, with humanoid bipedal robots on an exponential rise, particularly within homes and indoor settings. Artificial intelligence, which began merging with human intelligence in the previous century, now surpasses it, reaching entirely new levels of cognitive and intellectual capabilities. High-level decisions by governments and corporations are now predominantly guided by these sentient machines, overseeing extensive virtual staff, robots, and other automated systems. 2049. Establishment of the first permanent lunar base. In the latter half of this decade, government, space agencies, and private enterprises have created a lasting human presence on the moon. This significant milestone occurs within a period marked by significant technological advancements and a heightened commercialization of space travel. The base, initially dominated by the USA, has evolved into a global village open to all spacefaring nations. Before moving on, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our daily videos. 2051. Discovery of life on an exoplanet. Towards the late 2040s, the immense volume of data collected by telescopes, combined with revolutionary methods of analysis, leads to a profound discovery. With the assistance of artificial intelligence and primarily the 39-meter European telescope, conclusive evidence of biological activity on an exoplanet is confirmed for the first time. 2067. The first generation of antimatter-powered spacecraft emerging. These ships utilize tiny specks of matter containing deuterium and tritium, heavy isotopes of hydrogen surrounded by a uranium shell as their fuel. A beam of antiprotons is then fired at these pellets. Upon collision with uranium nuclei, the antiprotons annihilate, generating significant energy that triggers fusion reactions in hydrogen isotopes. With this propulsion system, a journey to Jupiter can be completed in merely 4 months using 1.16 grams of antiprotons. Numerous crewed test missions are conducted throughout the solar system. 2080. Autonomous vehicles dominate the streets. Rapid advancements in artificial intelligence, sensors, and telecommunications have given rise to a new generation of self-driving cars. These vehicles are considerably safer and more reliable than their predecessors, and they now dominate major markets, especially in developed countries. Naturally, road infrastructure undergoes a significant technological acceleration as well. 2090. Religion is fading from European culture. In several European nations, the number of individuals identifying as non-believers has risen from 30% in 1980 to over 90%. In America, the decline in religious sentiment is more moderate but still significant. 2099. Consideration of Mars terraforming. As space travel becomes increasingly cost-effective, now only a few cents per kilogram of payload, and interplanetary journeys are relatively routine, serious plans are underway for the terraformation of Mars, with the ultimate goal of making it habitable for humans. The issue of who should control Mars and its resources became a subject of extensive debates and speculations during this period. 22nd century. In this tumultuous period, developments in space include numerous permanent settlements on the Moon and Mars, regular crewed journeys to gas giants, massive asteroid mining operations, and various interstellar probes. Space tourism thrives, and travel to the surfaces of the Moon and other celestial bodies becomes relatively common. During this time, robots play pivotal roles in society in many ways. Some of the most advanced models become so realistic and intelligent that they effectively constitute a new segment of the population, making strides in legal status and gaining personality rights. 2130. Around this time, humans begin to integrate with technology in increasingly sophisticated ways to better interact with artificial intelligence. Highly compact devices become implantable and integrated into the human body, even the brain itself, capable of monitoring and treating diseases, enhancing senses, and providing entertainment or communication in ways that were previously impossible. This new form of bodily enhancement, known as transhumanism, leads to the formation of new social classes. 2132. At the Islamabad Olympics, dozens of world records are shattered. Controversy erupts over the participation of athletes with biotechnological enhancements, the so-called transhumans. 2137. After 22 years of construction, a space elevator connecting Earth's surface to geostationary orbit becomes operational off the coast of French Guiana on a large mobile ocean platform. The entire system is based on positioning a space vehicle in geostationary orbit, 35,786 kilometers above the equator, capable of holding a cable taut, extending towards Earth and anchored to the starting station. A cargo lift cabin climbs this cable, capable of carrying many tons of material into orbit at once. Like most transportation forms and infrastructures of the late 21st century, the space elevator is controlled by artificial intelligence, which constantly monitors and maintains the structure. If necessary, robots can be dispatched to solve cable or other component problems, from ground level to the cold void of space. People and goods can be lifted into orbit at significantly reduced costs compared to traditional launches. Over 1,000 tons of material can be raised in a single day, more than the weight of the International Space Station, whose construction took over a decade at the beginning of the century. Although relatively slow, the pace of space travel has become much smoother compared to conventional rockets. Once they leave the atmosphere and reach the desired altitude, goods or passengers can be transferred to a spacecraft. Alternatively, they can continue beyond geosynchronous orbit on vessels moving at speeds sufficient to escape the planet's gravity, heading towards more distant destinations. 2170. By this year, there are dozens of human settlements on the Moon. In the latter half of the 21st century, the advent of low-cost space travel made access to the Moon and its surface relatively easy. Now, nearly 100 years after the arrival of those first colonists, the lunar environment has become a hive of activity, with many settlements mostly built within tunnels carved by lunar volcanic activity millions of years ago. The area affected by these settlements exceeds 7% of the entire lunar surface, and independence movements from Earth are already emerging. 2180. High-tech and automated cities. If someone were to visit a city in 2180, they would be amazed at how clean and organized it is. The air would be as pure as that of the countryside before industrialization. Streets and sidewalks would be immaculate, made from self-cleaning materials that can even repair damage. Buildings, windows, and roofs would be resistant to dirt, bacteria, weather, graffiti, and vandalism. The same protective coatings would be used on public transport and vehicles. Everything in the city would appear new and shiny, always in perfect condition. There would also be plenty of greenery along with beautiful fountains, sculptures, and other decorations. Streetlights, telegraph poles, signs, barriers, and other visual clutter that once adorned the streets have disappeared. Lighting would be achieved more discreetly using a combination of self-illuminating walls and surfaces. Electricity would be transmitted wirelessly between buildings, and room temperature superconductors would be widely used, allowing vehicles to move rapidly without tracks or cables. 23rd century. Virtual reality and immortality. In the 23rd century, what was once called the Internet has evolved into something much deeper. For many people, it has completely replaced physical reality. Reverse engineering of the brain, combined with advanced nanotechnology, allows human minds to be fully detached and immersed in digital environments. These virtual worlds, capable of existing at speeds far greater than real time, now offer a form of immortality. 2330. With the development of antimatter-powered propulsion, spacecraft can now travel at relativistic speeds, reaching nearby stars in relatively short times. Many deep space missions are now underway, including trips to Earth-like planets within 10 light-years of distance. These small probes are unmanned but commanded by artificial intelligent modules capable of governing all stages of exploration. Given the distances involved, it is believed that the first results will not reach Earth before the end of the 25th century. 2310. By the year 2310, someone calculated that all of Earth's natural energy is now captured and fully exploited. This is the primary requirement for any planetary civilization to be considered a Type 1 civilization on the Kardashev scale. Vast areas of land, sea, and atmosphere have been transformed into a series of massive electrical networks using wind, solar, hydroelectric, and geothermal technologies. In addition to these, fusion and antimatter are harnessed, along with entirely new forms of energy production that were unknown to scientists in previous centuries. 2320. As humanity's focus shifts beyond Earth, a true gold rush is occurring throughout the solar system. Countless technological and engineering marvels are now possible in space, aided by the extensive growth of artificial intelligence that is dominating planetary and interplanetary governance. Massive colonization efforts are currently underway. Asteroid mining dominates the economy of the inner solar system, while hydrogen and helium are extracted from gas giants. Mars terraforming projects are in the works. 2500. Terraforming Mars abandoned. By the year 2500, the World Organization for Solar System Exploration came to the conclusion that terraforming planets like Venus and Mars exceeded the capabilities of current technology. Instead, partial terraforming of the surface is opted for, involving the construction of large domes. Most of the colonists are now cyborgs and transhumans, long adapted to the Martian environment. 2600. Plastic cleanup. Only now plastic and other waste products used since the 20th century are disappearing from Earth's biosphere. These materials caused incredible damage to the environment during their stay on Earth, harming and killing millions of birds, fish, and other animals. 2800. Silent probes. None of the hundreds of probes sent centuries ago to explore extrasolar planets have returned to Earth, nor have any messages been received. 3100. Humanity as a Type 2 civilization. By the year 3100, humanity is becoming a Type 2 civilization on the Kardashev scale. The continuous growth of artificial intelligence has enabled the manipulation of matter on scales previously unimaginable. The largest structure currently under construction in space is a Dyson sphere. This hollow shell is of such immense proportions that it completely encases the sun, capturing all of its solar energy production. Under the direction of an almost godlike superintelligence, vast swarms of automated and self-replicating ships are constructing it, using materials from various asteroid fields and more distant regions such as the Kuiper Belt and the Oort cloud. The inner walls possess a gravitational field of 1G and are made of entirely new states of matter, previously unknown to science. These can withstand the colossal tensile forces required to maintain structural integrity. This incredibly massive curved surface is becoming a habitat for many forms of sentient life, with terraformed sections equipped with atmospheres, oceans, and stable landmasses. A significant percentage of the population is now migrating to these strange artificial worlds. This includes a diverse mix of biological humans, as well as transhumans, synthetics, clones, androids, sentient animals, and other communities. However, incredibly, still no news arrives from the probe sent to nearby stars in search for life. Humanity seems to have become an omnipotent entity, but as it has done for thousands of years, it can only look at the sky and feel a deep sense of loneliness.